Our Voice of America reporter Ignatius Annor joins us live from Washington, D.C. Ignatius, let's perhaps begin with the importance of the Democrats then retaining the Senate. What does it mean for U.S. President Joe Biden, most importantly for what he'll be able to do?
Kathy, thank you very much for having me. And as you rightly said, indeed, the Democrats remain control of the Senate and Congress as we speak. Over the weekend, thanks to wins in Nevada and Georgia, they have gotten exactly what they wanted as far as the Senate race is concerned, but not exactly that for the House of Representatives. What it means is that the Senate have Joe Biden in his corner with 2 more years for him to finish his first term as 46th President of the United States. So the Senate essentially confirms federal judges and also as far as confirming or affirming the appointment of personnel in the executive branch is concerned. They would also have more say as far as domestic and foreign spending is concerned, and of course other issues as well. You recall that in the lead up to the midterm elections, President Joe Biden was rallying for support across the length and breadth of the country, asking voters to give him more seats, essentially him and the Democratic Party, more seats in both Houses of Congress. As we speak now, the Republican Party have won 211 of the 218 that is needed to control the House of Representatives. The Democrats have 204. There are 20 seats that have remained undecided as we speak because tallying is ongoing because of the different electoral laws that exist within those states, like California and Colorado, for example. So for Democrats, the Senate is a win, again, with Vice President Kamala Harris holding the tie vote, and also having to wait for another runoff election that was happening in Georgia on December the 6th. So as we speak now, we're not too sure, who will lead the House of Representatives, although slightly leaning towards the Republican Party, which would be sort of a hard time for President Joe Biden in the next 2 years. But he also said just shortly after the elections that he's more than willing to work with progressive Republicans in Congress.
Of course, the Republicans potentially then taking over the House of Representatives means that the U.S. president will not only be dealing with potential headaches, but it will impact his legislative reform agenda.
It absolutely will, because in the House of Representatives, for a bill essentially to make it to the Senate, they need what they call the 60 votes or overcome what is known as the filibuster. And as we speak now, that will prove very difficult for and the Democratic Party to push through their agenda. One of the key issues that drove voters to really speak as far as their vote is concerned was the promise by President Joe Biden to codify the Roe versus Wade into law following a striking down of that particular law that was passed by the court 50 years ago by the Supreme Court in June this year. And that can only be done again with a support of the Republican Party. And as we speak now, if what we're seeing, i.e. seats in the House of Representatives leaning towards the Republican Party, it would be extremely hard for President Joe Biden as far as getting that through Senate is concerned. Again, you know that for Senate, the Democratic Party have it, but it will be difficult to get that through the House of Representatives that need 60 votes to be able to table that before the Senate. Then that will be passed if that happens before it gets to the desk of the White House. But it all lies to what's going to happen with those 20 seats that remain undecided as we speak. The days will have to go by, or even weeks, as electoral officials in those counties work even overtime to deliver on their mandate.
Ignatius, part of what this election, of course, has showed us is the unpredictability, particularly of politics within the U.S., and how, more and more it seems that even your traditional methods, such as your polling systems, are becoming unreliable, that they don't actually reflect what the outcome of an election is likely to be.
That's correct, Kathy. When you look at the low approval rating of President Joe Biden going into the midterm U.S. elections, high inflation, with U.S. residents having to pay more for their gas, for rent, and all the issues that have come up following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and the pain that is particularly people not only in this country but around the world. Again, you recall the Republicans bunking their hopes that, with all that going on, the Democratic Party would not have fared well. They wanted at the time what they call the red wave, and that didn't happen. It's also the first time in the history of this country's politics that you've had the party out of power not performing well in the midterm elections. Historically, it would have been, all smiley and good news for them. But for the first time, we're seeing a party in power actually even making inroads during the 2 years. So it's again very tricky. You're not able to determine where the minds and the hearts of people are, even in the face of exit polls that state otherwise, until elections happen. Not only do elections happen, but voting, counting goes on, and then tallying is done to be able to know exactly what the situation is on the ground. And that's the conversation among pundits in this country, is the unpredictability of voters as we speak.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight. Voice of America reporter Ignatius Annor live for us in Washington, D.C. tonight.